Well, it's a ripe atmosphere here at the La Horquetta Recreation Ground. The fruits of action are about to bear as Terminix La Horquetta Rangers gear up to face Central Soccer World in this Ascension football tournament match. Well, earlier on, Brent Sancho had an opportunity to speak to the coaches, and this is what they said.
Looking forward to tonight's fixture. What are some of the keys to the game for you?
The keys to the game tonight will be discipline, patience, hard work. You know, our recovery have to be spot on tonight. There is a very fast-paced attacking team. So I think that would be some of the keys for us tonight.
Looking forward to tonight's fixtures. Is there anything in the Terminix La Horquetta Rangers that you would have seen in this build-up that you think you can exploit?
Oh, yeah, definitely. There is a lot of things, weakness in their game, but they are a very professional team. They are a very organized team, and we will try to see if we could exploit the little points that we picked out.
Thank you very much, Coach Boyce. And of course, all the best of luck to you tonight and your charges.
Thank you very much, sir.
Good. We're now about to be joined.
The coach of Central Soccer World will be coming up against Terminix La Horquetta Rangers. He also got a chance to speak to Dave Quamina, and this is what he had to say.
Good luck to you tonight in tonight's proceeding. But first, must start at top of the table. Of course, the last game, a heavy goal-scoring night. How could you improve on that?
No, every game you score 10 or 11 in the last game, and the following game you start from 0. So we just have to try to work hard. Every game we won't score the amount that you want to score, but we'll try to win the game.
Well, we've seen a lot of rotation within your squad selections. Is that down to injury, down to fatigue, or is that just down to tactics by Terminix La Horquetta Rangers?
Not really. I think the season long. It's a very long season. It's 18 games, and we train very hard. So we just need to rotate a bit. But no injuries, no tactical thing. It's just trying to keep everybody fit.
Well, of course, Coach Quamina, tonight's a big game for you. Good luck to you tonight. Good luck to your charges, and all the best.
All the best. Thanks.
So Dave Quamina, coach of Terminix La Horquetta Rangers. The teams are ready and set to begin. Let's take a look at the lineups really quickly ahead of this match. James Saunders is my name, by the way, welcoming all of our viewers on CCN TV6 and live on Sportsmax around the region, together with Brent Sancho. So Central Soccer World, brand new club, facing Terminix La Horquetta Rangers, and they've gone with Ross Russell Jr. Phenomenal game, getting 2 goals in his last game, together with Caleb Sturge, Jamal Crite. Real Gill is back in the starting lineup after missing out in the last match. Isaiah Lee, Kadeem Corbin, Tyrone Charles gets his place in the starting lineup as well. Jabari St-Hilaire takes over from Jabari Bryce, and Johannes Richardson gets a starting spot as they will lead the attack for Terminix La Horquetta Rangers. And for Central Soccer World, they've got a team new to many football viewers. Ryan Fredericks is the captain. Neil Benjamin Jr., the former W Connection man, is in the lineup, together with Camuel Rivers. Jason Joseph will lead the attack for them. A very young team, and a team that is raring and ready to go. Speaking of ready and raring to go, the referee is ready. Terminix La Horquetta Rangers in white coming up against Central Soccer World. Action here at the La Horquetta Recreation Ground. So it's kickoff, and La Horquetta Rangers coming on the back of a 11-2 thrashing of Moruga FC last Friday, facing up against Central Soccer World. What do you make of this match, Brent Sancho?
Well, it's interesting to hear Coach Boyce talk about discipline, and it's important for his charges to remain in some sort of very solid defensive shape, as we all know how explosive this Terminix La Horquetta Rangers team can be. So it's all about how well they contain La Horquetta Rangers. And from a La Horquetta Rangers perspective, it really comes down to execution. Can they execute and what they have been so successful on throughout this tournament so far. And that's their transition game. That's their ability to get into the box, and that's their ability to hurt teams with their pace and quality that they have. This is going to be an interesting one, and certainly one for the viewers to not get up and go for that coffee or that snack in the fridge yet, James. I would suggest you sit in your seats and fasten up. This could be a very interesting one.
For Central Soccer World with lots of work to do in this match, coming up against Rangers, who are first in the standings with 7 points. They've gotten 2 wins and a draw. First draw coming against Defence Force in their opening match. 1-1 draw that game. Then, of course, a 4-2 win over Police, who we saw in our first match here this evening. And then an 11-2 thrashing of Moruga FC. Central Soccer World, a new club in the competition. They're in 5th place in the standings with 4 points. They got their win over Moruga and AC Port of Spain, while they lost to the Defence Force. So it's a team that many folks have not seen before, but they've got quite a few interesting players in their squad.
Yeah, a lot of interest within. You talked about Neil Benjamin Jr., a player that played for W Connection. There is also some familiar faces within the ranks of Central Soccer World. Those of you, of course, who are familiar with the SSFL, and even so more familiar with Karpi Chima, the Central Zone champions for quite some time. But again, you have to harp on the fact that it's how important it is for them to, throughout this one, to remain composed, disciplined, and of course be deadly in these sorts of situations. Transition.
Oh, they're pushing forward now. Central Soccer World playing in green. A lot of these players would have represented W Connection. Another Central-based team, one of the top teams over the years in Trinidad and Tobago. Oh, that's a shot from distance, and one that isn't going to surprise St-Hilaire. Also, a lot of players that would have represented Karpi Chima secondary in the SSFL, part of this lineup. Well, that is well kept in by Tyrone Charles. Ross Russell Jr. keeps it alive. La Horquetta Rangers scored in excess of 15 goals in 3 matches. So they are a team that can score goals and score them frequently. Got a very deep squad. Tyrone Charles in possession. The TNT International, of course, are missing out on a starting spot in their last 2 matches. And, well, they scored 11 goals. This is a chase here that St-Hilaire would win, not the most convincing of clearances.
When you have as much rotation as Terminix La Horquetta Ranger has, you sometimes wonder if chemistry and, of course, how fluid they can be with all those changes. But certainly, La Horquetta Rangers have shown otherwise. Very, very comfortable unit. And as you rightfully mentioned, James, a very deep squad.
Oh, this is a dangerous looking service in the area. Falls to a green shirt who would gladly clear the danger. Just think of the likes of Atula Guerra, who's out of the starting lineup. Real Gil, after a very good performance in the win over Police, being left out of, he was a man of the match in fact, left out in the last match, 11-2 thrashing of Moruga. And you think of Junior Asun, who had a good performance in that game. He's on the bench this evening. Certainly a scary prospect for teams coming up against them. Well, here's Jason Joseph, the former W Connection man, to swing one in. Aiming for Benjamin Jr. Only picks out a wide shield. Here's Real Gil. Kadeem Corbin gets involved. Gill. Linking up nice with Corbin, former TNT Youth International. At the end product comes to naught.
And when you heard about, and of course when Coach Boyce talked about being disciplined, I think it's a lot to do with the transitional side of the game. That's where Terminix La Horquetta Rangers is so very good at. It's turning defense into offense quite quickly. They've got a lot of pace in and around the squad. Explosive players that can hurt you at the drop of a hat.
Well, it's a full house, and one that Jason Joseph and company look to silence, but St. Hilaire snuffs out that danger. It's Crete. Daniel getting a place in the starting lineup this evening. Ross Russell Jr. all the way back to Jabari St. Hilaire. Even the goalkeepers are being rotated. St. Hilaire getting a spot over Jabari Bryce, the regular first choice. Both of them formidable goalkeepers. Ross Russell Jr. He's got options. Punches it in here. And a shot.
A good finish.
Oh, goodness me. Well, the post is still ringing after that effort. And it's a warning sign there. They've knocked. They've hit the doorbell. What can they do again? Ross Russell Jr. this time he's fouled. And well, Suarez has to look out.
Well, I tell you, when he took this nice pivot turn here, had already pronounced it into the back of the net, James. What a quality strike there.
Well, he scored a hat-trick in the last game, Isaiah Lee. And he's showing his intent to continue that trend, if allowed to.
Well, he found the pocket, didn't he? And once he was able to get on that turn, he had one thing on his mind. It's excellent. I don't think you could ask for much more there in terms of execution. Although the post may have something different to say about that. That's good stuff. And it's what we talked about with Rangers. Transition.
Certainly a very good team in transition. Quite deadly. They've got lots of pace. They've also rested Javon Morris this evening. Reliable centre back. Ross Russell Jr. trying to link up with Corbin. That is cut out. Here's Neil Benjamin Jr. I'll tell you what, seems to be a gap in intensity at the moment as Russell Jr. steams down the left hand. Well, that one was, if he's aimed it at the crowd, well, he's done a good job. Other than that, well, you'd want to have that effort back.
You're normally a very good supply line, Ross Russell Jr. Not on that occasion. Just overhit his mark there. Always willing to get forward, isn't he, Ross Russell Jr.?
Got 2 goals in the last match. The son of a former TNT international goalkeeper and national team assistant coach, Ross Russell Sr. Soccer world. Jason Joseph linking up well. Yes, Kadeem Corbin. Well cut out. Here's Jamal Crate, the captain. Sturge. It's a slow start in this match. Just about 12 minutes gone, still goalless between Rangers and Central Soccer World.
I think Coach Boyce would be quite happy with that. They've been very disciplined as we called for. They've kept their shape and made it pretty difficult for Rangers to, of course, find any gaps and any possibilities outside of that Isaiah rocket on the post. They haven't had much to feed on. I think a lot of it is down to the pace of the game as well. I think if Rangers were to play a little bit faster, it may cause a problem here and there for Central Soccer World, but it's been a bit too slow.
Oh, he'd won that one back, the skipper, Jamal Crate. It's Jason Joseph. His experience is going to be needed this evening.
Well, I think even in this segment of the game as well, to speed up the game, and that would benefit Rangers, James, I think they need to press Central Soccer World a bit higher up the park. That, of course, will now result in a faster tempo game, and that's what Rangers really want. They want to play at a quicker tempo. They can't allow Central Soccer World to just waltz out of their own half in possession, unopposed.
Oh, that's well cut out. Joseph looking for passing options. And he does find one, aimed in at Benjamin Jr. Couldn't get the better of Sturge. Anybody's ball. Crate goes for it, totally mistimes his jump. It's challenged by the skipper Frederick. Well, they're just playing volleyball at the moment, but they've done well to get it away from the piggy in the middle. Just seem to be playing that patience game, as Brent mentioned.
Well, it suits Central Soccer World. The longer they keep this at 0-0, it's the longer, well, certainly they would feel that they have a chance of sneaking away with all 3 points. They know they would have to contain what Terminix La Horquetta Rangers presents.
Well, that's a tough one for Isaiah Lee to chase, but he does win a throw. Well cut out. Well, he's created some space for himself to get it away. And Jason Jones goes flying. Well, they're certainly not making it easy for them to find space, Terminix Rangers. Credit to them. Well, this is long and in search of the attacker, but Johannes Richardson cuts it out well. Creed gets the move going forward. Yes, Gill. That's a good run from Gill, opening up space for Tyrone Charles. But he just couldn't get the definitive touch to hold on to that one. Certainly opened up the pitch there. Gill cutting inside. Well, that man on the other hand, he's asking for the pitch to be made smaller by his team, Central Soccer World.
They've done a fairly good job of that so far. They've really not allowed Rangers any joy.
Well, out of the 15 goals scored by Terminix La Horquetta Rangers, just one of them was scored in their 1-0 draw with Defence Force in their opening match. So Coach Randall Boyce and company would have been looking at that match for inspiration ahead of this fixture. Oh, that's not a good touch from Joseph. Gives possession back to Rangers as he run himself into trouble there. Daniel certainly has. It's Daniel David's first starting appearance for Rangers. Well, they're on the hunt. That's a good turn from Gill. And a shot opening up here. Wow. I'm not sure the goalkeeper knew much about the second one. The first one he got his hand straight, then it seemed to have come off the post maybe. The important thing is he kept it out from Daniel David. But they're certainly knocking and they've resorted to banging on the door now.
I tell you what, James, he's done really well to keep that out the net. It took a wicked bounce right in front of him, got his hands behind it, and you always felt that with that sort of deflection that it could have easily snuck in. Goalkeeper Diego Suarez there, eventually getting both hands behind it.
Well, they're keeping as well. The fans entertained though. Here comes Rangers. Good service, well headed out. Real Gill keeps it alive for Corbin to swing another one in. Can't pass the man at the near post. And, oh, they're going to send this one far away from the dangerous area. Sturge has to hustle. Great, good touch on. And that one will be put into touch. It's another throw for Rangers. Johannes Richards, the former Shiva Boys man. Oh, that's a good pass. Tyrone Charles does well to keep it in. Ross Russell Jr. keeps it alive. There's another bite at the cherry. Charles. Well, certainly not finding the kind of space that you'd be hoping for. Tyrone Charles down the left side for Rangers. Just slowing down the tempo at every opportunity. Here's the captain, Frederick. Just seem to be playing according to plan. They know that Rangers are known to suck teams in and counter-attack with pace. Not making any rash passes forward, biding their time, looking for incisive moments. Just feel though that the ball movement can be a bit quicker. Oh, they were quick to spot that danger.
And I think from a La Horquetta Rangers perspective, at some point in this game, they're going to want to up the tempo and dictate the pace of this game. They haven't done it so far. And again, credit to Central Soccer World. They've not made it easy for them.
Ross Russell Jr. Kadeem Corbin. Thought of a shot. Dished it into a wide area. Almost got the return service. Maybe another opportunity. Central Soccer World defending really deep at the moment. Oh, he's run himself into some trouble, has he? Still managed to keep it. And again, very methodical build-up from the men in green. No rush to play it forward. Aimed at Benjamin Jr. His header not well directed. Frederick keeps possession well. Finally to get some space to push forward. Well, they're committing numbers forward now, but they've lost possession in a dangerous area. And Real Gill is off to the races. And could Corbin be through? Does it? Keeper, has he done enough to keep it out? Well, he hasn't. And the home crowd goes wild. All it took was one moment, one chance, and Kadeem Corbin, well, this time, he's battered the door down, and they're 1-0 ahead.
Well, you knew there was always going to be danger when, of course, Central Soccer World started throwing numbers forward. But that's intelligent play there by Real Gill. Speculative finish at best by Corbin, but was still able to get it into the back of the net. The one opportunity that Rangers needed in transition results in a goal. 1-0 up to Terminix La Horquetta Rangers.
Well, Leon Wiley always looked in trouble when he sends on a foot race with Kadeem Corbin. It's like a Safa Powell coming up against an under 15. You know who would win that one. And got to give credit to Corbin though. He was rattled, but he stayed on his feet to get the finish away.
Well, it was an intelligent run as well. He stayed on side, he timed it well. Both him and Real Gill, of course, linking up there to the devastation of Central Soccer World. You just always knew it, James, as well. Once of course, Central Soccer World started to throw numbers forward, that was always going to be the danger, the power and pace and precision of this team in transition. And here they go again.
Well, Russell Jr., the fullback, he's going ahead of Tyrone Charles. Loves getting forward. And it's a dangerous looking pass here.
That's intelligent.
Well, they've cleaned that up well. Danger snuffed out. Well, just took one chance from that man, Real Gill. 18 years old, Real Gill. Certainly a promising one for the future. Scored 2 goals in the match against Police FC in their 4-2 win. Game week 2. Was out of the team for the match against Moruga where he scored 11. But he's back, and what a bang. An impact he's made since coming.
Well, the timing of the pass, James, we've seen even at the top level players have gotten that wrong. The weight of pass and of course the timing of it, and both were spot on by the man on the ball now.
Well, here he is again, Real Gill. This time he couldn't pick out.
Thought he could have been a bit more direct there, James. Maybe take his man on.
Well, he has another experienced man, Neil Benjamin Jr. And, well, he gave it, but he wasn't given the green light to go forward because the pass was wayward.
Look at the timing of that. All Corbin had to do was run onto it, and give Corbin credit. Despite the little nudge on the back right at this moment, he still had the composure to put it past goalkeeper Suarez, who stuck a leg out in vain.
Well, here's more. Oh, well, was there a handball? They're certainly appealing for it. Play continues. Chance opening up by Isaiah Lee. That is well cut out by the captain, Ryan Frederick. Suarez certainly got a break. He thought that might have been on target had it not been for that man. Well, they're certainly huffing and puffing more than we saw earlier.
Well, again, Central Soccer World is starting to push more players forward, which is obviously leaving gaps at the back. And when you leave gaps at the back. This very potent Terminix La Horquetta Rangers team, you're asking for trouble.
Well, he was onside there as the flag stayed down. Neil Benjamin Jr. would hope for a better touch. It's a player that has won Caribbean club titles with W Connection. The son of Neil Benjamin Sr. Played with his father at Caroni FC in the old semi-professional league. He's got big expectations on his shoulder, the young Benjamin Jr. And what about that man, Kadeem Corbin, 24 years old. He's a Caribbean Cup winner with Trinidad and Tobago. 2014, that team led by Derek King. Still has a lot of years ahead of him to make an impact at the senior level. He was also man of the tournament, I think, back in 2014, Corbin.
A tournament with a particular Levi Garcia.
Certainly.
As part of that.
It's hard to upstage a team that includes Levi Garcia. Well, this is long, and Sturge does the policing as he allows it to go for a throw. So we are approaching the half-hour mark as some precipitation comes down here in La Horquetta. Tell you what, the fans don't seem to mind. The home team, of course, leading by 1-0. Well, that one never found its intended target. Crate. And Central push forward. Again, cut out by Sturge. Well positioned. Well, he fell down, but he got that one into Lee. But Suarez was really quick off his line.
Very good goalkeeping, James.
But you just feel that he certainly kept them alive there with that save there. Suarez.
Well, he was very alert, falling there. And he always fancied Isaiah Lee to get to that one. But Suarez would have proved different. Very positive goalkeeping.
Wiley. Goes in search of Benjamin Jr. Turns, tries to run into space, but well, Caleb Sturge has positionally been very good so far. Well, that's a foul on the captain, Frederick. I just wonder how Central Soccer World are going to approach the match now that they've found themselves trailing.
I don't think much can change in terms of their approach so far. They have to be very wary of these types of situations, and that's Terminix La Horquetta Rangers in full flight in transition.
Well, Corbin had the ambition of a man just out of university. Fortunately, the aspiration he hoped for didn't match the ambition. It just tells you the type of mood that he's in.
Well, you look at him and you look at Isaiah Lee, and of course Real Gell on the next side of attack. That's a frightening proposition for any defense.
They're poking, they're asking questions. Can they get solutions? Central Soccer World. It's Wiley outrun for the opening goal of the match. Jason Joseph. Good tackle from Craig, but it can open up for Central here.
That's a penalty. That's a penalty.
It's a related whistle, and has he pointed to the spot? Brent Sancho seems to think so. Johannes Richardson, well, he gets a yellow card for his hard work, done the dirty way, and seems to have pointed to the spot, the referee.
Well, once the ball broke loose here, it was always a gamble. Numbers already piling forward. Oh, that's outside of the box. I tell you what, I'd like to take another look at that one. To me, the initial contact may have been just outside of the box. Now, if it's on the line, of course, it is a penalty. And as you take another look at it here, as the ball springs forward, look at the contact, the right leg of Richardson, right there.
That's a penalty.
Yeah,
if he didn't make contact. Of course, I don't have the benefit of a reverse angle, but foul was given, so there was contact.
Yeah, there's enough within that shot to suggest that it is a penalty. Very close. But Terminix La Horquetta Rangers got caught there, James. We talked about a way back into the game for Central Soccer World, and I think they may have found it. Of course, they have to execute now.
Well, he's got the expectations of the entire world in Central on his shoulders. Oh, and he's done well. No keeper in the world was stopping that one. High into the top corner, and they've found their way back into the match. What a goal. Camille Rivers seems to be the goal scorer.
Yeah, long run up here by Rivers. And that's a good strike. That is a top strike.
Well, he's been a long-standing servant for W Connection. And, well, he's brought the connection with his Central teammates, Camille Rivers. As he puts them ahead, nothing he could do. And it's 1-1 just after the half-hour mark. Game on. Well, football certainly is a cruel game. And he's pleading that it's a cruel decision against him, Camille Rivers. Comes from a long line of rivers in the Central area. Waterloo, that's the area he comes from. It's a brother who is a very famous gospel artist in Trinidad and Tobago, Rivers. Well, that's a good one. And oh, just off the upright. Well, I tell you what, I've been asking answers how they would respond. And, well, Suarez just found the answer to that. And Tyrone Charles, he's wondering what he did wrong there.
Well, everything was right with this delivery. Heads up there. It looks like Isaiah Lee with the header. Free header. Should have cashed in.
I tell you what, there's nothing that he would have been able to do had that stayed under the crossbar.
Well, in terms of execution, there's not much you can do to fault him. James, he headed down, the ball hit the surface. But I think, of course, the pace of it caused the ball to go up to the crossbar. I think this is a very important 5 to 10 minutes here for Central Soccer World.
And open up Neil Benjamin Jr. Well, there's a flag now. But he opted to lay it back for the oncoming player, Benjamin Jr. A turn might have taken everyone out of the equation. Doesn't matter now, it's all speculative and what ifs as the flag has gone up. Well, that's a good tackle from Real Gil. Flag does go up though, and Corbin is halted. Well, lots of attitude there from the referee's assistant. Crowd certainly loving every minute of it.
Well, if there's one thing the fans here at La Horquetta Recreational Ground can't say is that they have been thoroughly of course, entertain throughout the Ascension series. I can't think of any game where you were scratching your head wondering where you were. They have been treated to a feast here in La Horquetta. If you have not been down this side, I encourage you to come down.
Well, is there any room in the inn? So 1-1 as we're inside the final 10 minutes of the first half. What I love about the crowd in La Horquetta, we've seen rain before, and barely moves them.
Well, it's the sign of true supporters, making sure they're here through thick and thin with their team.
Well, it's back to the chess match that we saw in the early minutes of the game. And, well, it's a burst of pace yet again. And again, it's that guy, Real Gill, turning on the afterburners. This time he's double-teamed well, but it's given away to Crete. It's Corbin. Wow, how about that for a block? Certainly jammed his receptors as he intended to connect with the net. I'll tell you what, some signs of life on the bench for Terminix Rangers. Might be a defensive change. Leslie Russell is being primed to come in.
I was looking at Johannes Richardson, and he seemed to be struggling a lot of stretching activities, pointing towards the hamstring area. So that may be a like-for-like change.
Well, it's a shot here, and well, wide of the mark. Certainly worth the effort. Daniel David got his coordinates mixed up. Is there more drama before the end of the first half? Scores level. Hasn't been the most exciting match, but it certainly has been a very solid game. Decent quality between this pair.
Now we see La Horquetta Rangers pressing high up the park.
Well, Wiley seemed to press him every time he is in possession. He's caught napping there. Finally, they get it away. Seems perhaps they're choosing who to press.
And I think that's the question. And we talked about the tempo of the game. And as I said, I think if Rangers was to do this from the word go, then they would force the tempo to be a lot higher. They've resorted now, we're in the 39th minute, to press Central Soccer high up the park.
Well, we're not forgetting the back of the park as Leslie Russell comes in. He will replace Johannes Richardson, scratching his left hamstring. His evening comes to an end, getting his first start. Lasted 39 minutes. Russell will have his first test here though, as Central push forward. Here's Wiley. Quarterback style, aimed in at Benjamin Jr. Well, Ross Russell Jr. lost his footing, and he's happy that his team did not lose the advantage.
Tell you what, James, that could have been to his detriment. I think if Neil Benjamin Jr. had continued with his surge forward, he may have, of course, been the recipient of that pass and that slip, of course, by Ross Russell Jr. I think if Coach Boyce goes into this one at one apiece, he'll be a happy man.
Yeah, I think that La Horquetta perhaps would be the team less happy with a 1-0 scoreline at halftime. Well, they're looking to change that though to Tyrone Charles. Cut out. Can he get another opportunity? Well, he's taken his man out. He's recovered well. Ross Russell Jr. Looking for options. Just piling bodies forward, Terminix Rangers. That one aimed at Gill, bit sloppy. They lose possession, but he has won it back well. Speculative. Should be easy to clear for Central. He's got a big task, keeping Neil Benjamin Jr. at bay. Leslie Russell started all the previous matches for Terminix Rangers. He's given a rest in this match, but he's been forced to come off the bench early as Frederick gets the referee support after a rough challenge. Tries to take it quickly, but he's prevented from doing that from Daniel David. Not allowing the captain Frederick to get away with a quick one. If it's one thing to say that La Horquetta Rangers doesn't lack, is intensity, game intensity. Maruga would have felt the brunt of that last week.
Well, they have some very explosive players within their lineup in terms of pace and power and what they bring to a football match.
Well, he'll have to defend at this free kick taken by Rivers, and too high. It's a lot better from set pieces. Camille Rivers, not this time. Well, great. He certainly was greeted by a stomp to the instep there. He tried to get that one, Camille Rivers. Short man, but it's a big presence in defense. It's Benjamin Jr. Good footwork. Wins the free kick. Playing almost as a lone striker, Benjamin Jr. He's known for his explosive pace in his youth. Haven't seen any of that this evening. Aimed in at Benjamin Jr. Can he keep this one alive? Double teaming him as Ross Russell Jr. helps out with Sturge.
What he has done is occupy the Rangers' rear guard, and because of that, it's allowed the likes of Bourne and Fredericks and others to get involved in attacking situations when they do attack. And that's, I'm very sure, what Coach Boyce would want from him. Mightn't have the opportunity to get in behind them, but he's certainly done a good job in occupying them.
Oh, that's not the lightest of touches from Camille Rivers. Apologizes to his teammates. Big part of W Connection's team in the early 2000s. It's part of their CONCACAF Club Championship teams. Caribbean Cup winning teams as well. It's Crete. Turns into traffic. Referee deems that he was impeded.
Yeah, that's the correct call. I think Creighton trying to step away from his man. Yeah, Frederick a bit late there with that challenge.
Well, here's a chance for La Horquetta as Corbin is stopped. As we've entered the additional time, just 1 minute added. He's had a rough night, hasn't he? Jamal Crete. Creighton as it's pronounced locally.
You have to give credit to the likes of Frederick and, of course, the rest of that midfield for Central Soccer. They've worked very, very hard in containing La Horquetta Rangers. He's still got some work to do here.
Well, is there to be some advantage now for Rangers? Not this time. Sturge does well. Contain the danger. Might be the last bit of action for the half. Or is it? Oh, that's clever. Thomas. One last bit of action perhaps. Skyrim Thomas switches flanks. Here's Real Gill. Tyrone Charles rather. Gill gets in the act. And his shot, well, just not as accurate as you'd like. He didn't take any chances though, Suarez. He's been kept pretty quiet this evening, Gill.
Yeah, he has been quiet, and I think the wide play in particular from Rangers is not to the standards that we're used to. Again, we talk about that word quality in the final third. Certainly has been lacking again in this second game.
Well, the final whistle comes, and it meets Terminix La Horquetta Rangers level on scores, one apiece with Central Soccer World. And certainly a first half, not as explosive as you might have expected from the home team, but certainly one that is fair, you would say, for both teams.
Yeah, I think it's a fair result going into the halftime break. And a lot of credit have to be given to Central Soccer World and their approach to this one. They've been compact, they've been disciplined, and they've been rigid. Very difficult to break down. We talked about, of course, the explosiveness of Terminix La Horquetta Rangers. We haven't been able to see that. And again, that is down to the work rate and the abilities of Central Soccer World. A game lacking a bit of quality in the final third. However, at the end of the day, I think Central Soccer World will be happy with this halftime score thus far.
So scores tied at one apiece between Rangers and Central Soccer World. We take a pause and come back with more.
A win for Sheffield United could put them into second spot. Bristol City, Sheffield United, Monday, April 18 at 11:30 a.m., 12:30 a.m. ECT on Sportsmax.
Hola, soy Sergio Busquets. Mira la liga en Sportsmax.
6 big months equaling some of the biggest properties in the world of sport. Athletics, cricket, basketball, horse racing and football from July to December. Don't miss a start, a wicket, a point, a furlong or a goal. The Commonwealth Games, Caribbean Premier League, the return of schoolboy football, NBA. All live and coming to you on your home of champions.
Fear you're missing out? Don't miss another event with Sportsmax. Enjoy full live content on our YouTube channel. Keep up to date with all things sports. Rewatch highlights of your favorite zone moments. Join our community and share in the passion of sports viewers everywhere. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to the Sportsmax YouTube channel today.
Well, the Ascension Angels certainly creating a heavenly atmosphere for the fans here at the La Horquetta Recreation Ground, as it's halftime between Terminix La Horquetta Rangers and Central Soccer World. Let's take a look at the first half highlights and the first chance of the match. Isaiah Lee rattling the crossbar. And then there was more. David forcing Suarez into a save. Not sure he knew much about that. And then Gill opening the door for Corbin, and he knocked and was eventually let in, and they took a 1-0 advantage. Nothing Wiley could do to contain him, and Suarez couldn't keep that out. Cristiano Ronaldo type celebration from Corbin. And then Vispas opening the door for them, And how about that for a save, though, from the goalkeeper Suarez. On the other end, the captain, Frederick, impeded. Johannes Richardson. And Kemuel Rivers puts it where no man can get to. And that made it 1 apiece. Central Soccer World back in the match. And certainly enjoying it, the veteran. More chances on the other end for La Horquetta and Ross Russell Jr. Well, he certainly feels robbed by that one as it came off the crossbar. Kemuel Rivers had a late punt at goal from the free kick. And this time not hitting the target. And at halftime, it remains 1-1 between Terminix La Horquetta Rangers and Central Soccer World. So a match even, not on shots though, as 6 shots to 3 in favor of La Horquetta Rangers. Although 2 shots on target for La Horquetta and 1 on target for Central Soccer World. So very close in that regard. And well, they certainly lead on corners as well with 3 corners in their favor. It's time to look back at the highlights from week 3. Lots of action. Defense Force taking on Deportivo Point Fortin. This is a match that certainly created lots of highlights. Chances opening up all over. Deportivo with the first attempt, Andre Pacheco. And then Jordan Riley to Luke Phillip. And well, that's a team won by his standard. Later on, Hashim Asia's corner found the head of Brent Sam. And the brother of former TNT International, Hector Sam, put it away. More from Phillip and Akinola Gregory getting the equalizer, or the opening goal rather. Akinola Gregory involved yet again. And this time Phillip not very good on the follow-up shot. Later on, Defense Force would come huffing and a puffing. And this one unfortunately smashed wide. More chances opening up. That one well saved. And this one, well, it certainly got everyone going, but the goalkeeper standing up to the task. And a late chance in the end. The goalkeeper solid as a rock, Deportivo Point Fortin. And then Justin Sadu, the last chance of the match to try to make it a win for Defense Force. That match ending 1 apiece. Terminix La Horquetta Rangers in the later game opened up the scoring against Moruga FC early on. Chance opening up, Isaiah Lee taking full advantage. And then opening it up with the captain, Jamal Crate. He gets his second. Moruga though did get on the score sheet. Atiba Charles making it 2-1. But then Junior Asun would smash one in the back of the net to give them the 3-1 advantage. And then an error from Jabari Bryce opens the door for Moruga, and Jeremy Carter makes it 3-2. Looked competitive until Isaiah Lee said nah, as he hits it in from close range, making it 4-2. Then Junior Asun on the act, 5-2 halftime. Atula Guerra came in as a substitute, and he certainly created chances, and that one fell nicely for Lee. He got his hat-trick in the match. 7-2 to score, and was the floodgates open? Certainly was, as this one pinged the wrong Captain Crate. And then Ike Manju is another substitute, cashing in. And there was more. Ross Russell Jr. deflected of Yatam Henry, makes it 9-2. And how about this for a finish from that man, Atula Guerra. And there was one chance again for Ross Russell Jr. He picked up his second in the match as the match finished 11-2 in favor of La Horquetta Rangers. At the Arima Velodrome, there was action on the weekend as well. Central FC taking on Real Westport. And Rondell Gibson getting in on the score sheet early. 1-0 in the 30th minute for Westport. More drama later on, as Cordell Samuel got the equalizer. What a finish from the man who's played all over East Asia. Backs and forwards, and a goal for Romario Burke. Tackled, but he still managed to get it over the line, made it 2-1. And how do you miss from there? He's asking himself that question. Central FC again, and this time Romario Burke getting his second. And what an important second it was, an equalizer. Later on that evening at the Arena Velodrome, AC Port of Spain took on Central Soccer World. And Soccer World, Jai Currant and Nicholas Dillon, the former Central FC man. Che Benny tried to answer on the opposite end, but Central Soccer World would make it 2-0. Bourne, oh wow. He certainly made a name for himself. Chances creating up. AC Port of Spain, would they get a consolation? They certainly did. McLean getting one in. And was there to be late drama? Indeed, there was. It's the Ascension tournament. Sean Thomas getting the equalizer. As that match, well, that ended 2-2. Rough battle. Everybody had their hands full. Speaking of hands full, Police FC, they took on Kunupe FC. A matchup between these two highly rated squads. And early on, a chance would open up here from close range, and oh, that's a good save in the end. Elijah Belgrave, and he's good with headers, and he opened the scoring with one for Police FC as they took a 1-0 lead. Certainly caused all sorts of trouble. Cameron Purcell getting another headed goal. Kunupe FC would respond to former TNT international Keon Daniel. And despite all of the pomp, ceremony, red cards and drama, that one finished 2-1 in favor of Police FC, who've moved to third in the standings. So lots of action in the Ascension football tournament. But right here in La Horquetta, the score tied between Terminix Rangers and Central Soccer World, 1 apiece. We take a break, and when we come back, second half action.
No matter the city,
the language,
the people, the game is the same. And the objective never changes.
At this stage,
the stakes are high, but the rewards
are even greater. So go up, rep your city, your club,
your stars, and hope that they can rise to the occasion. Otherwise,
well,
you know, the UEFA Europa League,
all season long,
on your home of champions.
Tennis is such an individual sport. We all are out there battling on our own for ourselves and
finding ways.
Yeah, finding ways. It's almost like chess. You're playing and figuring things out yourself.
I think we can all agree.
From the Caribbean broadcasters which brought you the Olympics,
This is the time of their lives.
witness the Curve to Games like never before. Over 500 athletes from 27 countries will grace the National Stadium in Kingston, Jamaica as they battle for the top prize and a sheer of glory. Watch the Curve to Games 2022, April 16 to 18 on Sportsmax. Presented by Quartz, bringing value home.
Well, it's all to play for in the second half in this Ascension tournament match. It's the big match here at the La Horquetta Recreation Ground. Terminix La Horquetta Rangers 1 versus Central Soccer World 1. Scores all tied. My name is James Saunders. Alongside me is former TNT international defender Brent Sancho. And what can we expect in the second half?
Well, I think from a Terminix La Horquetta Ranger perspective, they certainly have to up the tempo. Of course, as much as they enjoy playing in transition, they're going to have to take this game to Central Soccer World. It's been a bit too comfortable for the boys from Central. And I think with the quality that Terminix La Horquetta Rangers present within their lineup, I would expect them to be more of the aggressor. And for Central Soccer World, I think more of the same. They've been, as I said, very disciplined, very organized. And they're going to hope to continue that, really. It's going to be intriguing to see how Terminix La Horquetta Rangers approach this second half. As you would have mentioned, James, they like to play almost a very low block with the hope of springing surprise attacks through transition for the other team.
Well, I can expect that some changes will be made. That's been the trend for La Horquetta Rangers in this competition. And when I do my mathematics, see 2 players are missing, and then the sidelines, Tula Guerra and Ikem Andrews look set to come in. So they've gone for some reinforcement, some quality reinforcement. And attack seems to be the order of the day as they look to spring some goals on the board. Well, Central Soccer World are just making their way out of the tunnel as they're making their way onto the field.
They've got to start well, Central Soccer World. They've got to continue with the way that they played in the first half. This first 10 minutes in the second half, James, it's extremely important for both teams. I think another goal by Terminix La Horquetta Rangers could see them go on to the ascendancy and maybe even go into 3 or 4. I think if Central Soccer World was to pull one out of the hat, that would make for a very, very interesting night here in La Horquetta Recreational Ground.
So Tula Guerra has come in, and Central Soccer World might have made a change of their own. We'll confirm that. That is to be confirmed. But changes made. Tula Guerra in. Ikem Andrews also in. So they're going to be part of the attacking 4. Isaiah Lee, Tula Guerra, Real Gill, and Ikem Andrews. Well, the fans are all hyped up and ready for second half action.
Well, they would have switched it to 3-5-2, haven't they, Terminix La Horquetta Rangers? I think they feel the need to overpower their opponent, and right away they're playing high up the park. So that's any questions we ask about that, there's the answer.
Well, it's Lee, and well, his intentions are quite clear. Tells you much about the halftime team talk. He tried to get a shot away really quickly.
Yeah, I'm sure there were some teacups and saucers thrown around there in the changing room. Certainly a below par performance in the first half by Terminix La Horquetta Rangers, but a lot of it was to their own doing. Very, very lax in their approach.
Well, there's a chance that is easily snuffed out by Leslie Russell.
That's a good ball.
How about that? He's broken the press, and Tula Guerra has a shot. Real Gill tries to get the follow-up, which is quickly cleared. It's Jason Joseph. They're going to push forward now to the captain, Frederick. Well, he's done well.
He's done very well
to get it forward in a dangerous area. And, well, the clearance is less than convincing as it's picked up here by Crete. Kadeem Corbin motoring forward. Linking up with Gill.
That's good.
Touch too heavy in the end from Corbin. It's a foot race here that Leslie Russell should win easily. Well, the 3 defenders in the back have certainly opened up some space that Neil Benjamin Jr. Company might try to exploit. But first they've got to stop this man on the other end, Real Gill. Oh, he's done well for himself, hasn't he? Chance opening up, and how important was that clearance? Ross Russell Jr. lining one up to shoot. He's measured his really well. And has that come off the foot of the post?
Yes, I'm not sure if goalkeeper Diego Suarez knew much about it.
Must have spoken a different language. Tower of Babel type stuff. Confused him all ends up. Most importantly, did not go in. Well, it looked like a bit of a hope from Ross Russell Jr. when he was lining it up, but he certainly got it on target. Almost got some reward for it as well. It's Crete. Ike Manjus. Gill. Manjus to battle for this one. Well, he's done well to win it, and the referee agrees that it was legally done. Russell Jr. turning into traffic. Fortunate to get away with that one. It's Corbin. It's been a pest all day. Proving yet again. Oh, he sent his man for drinks here. End product lacking low.
Well, certainly Rangers have upped the tempo so far in the second half. We talked about it at the interval, and they have delivered. That's a good ball.
Tulagera should be in, yet flag comes up belatedly. So the attempted shot would not matter, but it did come late. Man labeled the Trini Ronaldinho. Couldn't find the target that time around. Had a productive time in the USL. Scored a number of goals at Tulagera in the 11. Labeled the Prince of Port of Spain at one time. Such was the season where I think he was the club's player of the season. Sturge gets it away. Ross Russell Jr. tries to pick out Corbin. Ike Manjus helps out as they motor forward at pace. This time he's pushed off out of possession and has won a free kick.
Well, as his games unfold, James, you have to wonder the amount of white shirts being pushed forward by Rangers. Can Central Soccer World exploit in the other end? There's certainly gaps there.
Certainly is. Neil Benjamin Jr. certainly can exploit it. That one, just too much juice.
That's where the danger lies for, of course, Terminix La Horquetta Rangers. I think we're chasing 3 points here.
Well, Ike Manjus couldn't control that one, and will be a throw-in. Certainly a chess match developing here. Both teams seem to have changed their strategy somewhat. A lot more space being created for Central Soccer World to exploit, with La Horquetta Rangers in search of goals. That man, he likes goals being scored by his team. He did say in the pre-match though that he looks to win matches, and his team starts from scratch in every fixture. But it's instinctive. Love scoring goals. Looking for Gill. Well, found another Gill perhaps, not the intended one. Just over 5 minutes gone in the second half. Scores remain tied at 1 apiece. Some miscommunication between the two former W Connection men, Kemuel Rivers and Benjamin Jr. Lots of space for Ross Russell Jr. to charge forward. Corbin flicked into dangerous area by Ike Manjus, but easy for Suarez.
And every time Ross Russell Jr. attacks, he leaves, of course, a 2v2 situation behind him. As I said, as this game continues to develop, it will be very interesting to see how that pans out.
Well, that's an interesting point because, of course, they've switched to a 3-5-2. Ross Russell Jr. is part of that 3, but he has a penchant for pushing forward.
And sometimes not getting back in time. And we know the pace of Neil Benjamin Jr. It's well documented. So it's really a high-stake game here. A lot at stake. And a big gamble. Yeah.
Well, if you're a betting man, even for you, it might be difficult to call at the moment. Ikem Andrews. Russell Jr. again pushing forward. Gets it to Ikem. Oh, he's done well, hasn't he? Been pushed back though. So that's good defending. Good service. Can he pick out Lee? Does. Chance opening up here, and that was a good hit though. Just couldn't pin the donkey's tail. Daniel David. Chance opening up here.
Offside.
Frederick. And this is offside.
It's got to time his run, because you're going to find yourself in those sorts of situations. It's so important that you time your run.
Well, from a neutral's perspective, game has certainly opened up, and Suarez has stopped his team from being opened up. Or has he? He hasn't, because they call him when they are in trouble, and he delivers as Atula Guerra gets the definitive touch for Terminix La Horquetta Rangers, despite the best efforts of that man. And it's 2-1 to Terminix.
Well, it all started with that excellent reverse pass by Corbin Russell with the initial good save by goalkeeper Suarez on Andrews, and that man there, Johnny on the spot, or in this reference, Tula on the spot, to bring his team 1 goal ahead against Central Soccer World. Terminix La Horquetta Rangers going back on the advantage.
I'll tell you what, the fans certainly enjoyed that one. Had a lot of work to do, Atula Guerra, when he got into position, but it was that feint that just gave him an opportunity, and what a finish that was. Yes, Real Gill, he's smelling blood in the water.
That's a poor cross.
Still keep it alive. Central Soccer World have been wounded. Can they recover? Corbin. Lee knocks it down. Couldn't pick out a teammate.
That's late. That's very late.
Benjamin Jr. feels the wrath of Leslie Russell.
Teammates at one point at W Connection.
Well, certainly.
That challenge wouldn't suggest so. Maybe he's a bit of a friendly tap.
Here's Ross Russell Jr. charging forward. Just loves getting forward, doesn't he? Now Corbin got some defensive treatment there from Jason Joseph. Sturge. Russell Jr. Corbin. Certainly been very active on the left hand of the attack. That's a nice searching ball. Well cut out. And Central come away with it. Kemuel Rivers. Thought about going long there. But he... Oh, that's a bad area to give away possession to a man like Isaiah Lee, because he's a sniper. Just has one shot to get the kill, and has that been the kill shot as Rangers take a 3-1 lead against Central Soccer World.
Well, it was a poor decision here. Picked his pocket, and that's a good finish. Give goalkeeper Suarez absolutely no chance.
Well, Isaiah Lee, his scoring streak continues. Got a hat-trick in the last match, and, well, He's opened his account this evening. What a goal that is.
But we did say at the half whether or not Central Soccerwood could keep their discipline, and certainly it has not panned out that way the first 10 minutes or so of the second half. We did say the first 10 minutes as well of the second half would be very important for both teams. And Central Soccerwood certainly have not played in the same vein or manner that they would have exhibited in the first half. They'll be very disappointed in what they've done so far.
Well, in a dangerous spot at the moment. Forced to venture forward in search of goals. Terminix Rangers, they haven't stopped doing that since the second half began.
Well, they started to engage, of course, Central Soccerwood a bit higher up the park, which has forced the game tempo or the speed of the game to go up a notch. And that's what we were calling for in the first half. Rangers want to play at a very high tempo, and to play at a high tempo, you have to, of course, start engaging your opponent a bit higher up the park. And they've done that in the second half.
Ike Manjus, TNT Senior International. Real Gill. That's a good-looking ball in. Well, has he been held back there? The referee allows the advantage to continue. Oh, and that's a good dummy. Could he get out? Suarez, what a save. Has he kept it out? Goodness me. Well, we talk about Good Friday miracles happening. That was one of them. Suarez somehow kept that out of his net. And everybody's asking questions. How?
Well, in all the melee, Wesley Russell ends up in the referee book, but you're correct. How did that stay out?
Well, doesn't matter. He's done it.
As Corbin picks it up here, gets it in there to Isaiah. He misses control. Guerra with the shot. Soros can handle. Ball can be in the back of the net and eventually cleared. It's all happening here in the second half.
And well, he's been at the heart of most of it. Suarez. Been yin and yang for him. He's kept some out. And he's seen some fly past him. What a night.
Well, if you were to have a look at his face, you wouldn't tell that anything's happening. Looked like the coolest man in La Horquetta.
Certainly does. Here's Ross Russell Jr. And one of those motoring runs of his opens up lots of space for Corbin. And, well, would have preferred a better pass though, Corbin. Not finding his target this time. And Frederick inspire his boys to get back in the contest. They did it once in the first half. Question is, can it be done again?
Well, it's going to mean throwing numbers forward. And, of course, we all know what would result if they are to expose themselves in that way. But if they want anything out of this game, they're going to have to take the gamble. Rangers certainly have.
So the halftime changes paying dividend for Terminix Rangers. Oh, that's a bad slip, but he's recovered well. Jamal Creek. Cut out. Jason Joseph. Neil Benjamin Jr. Cut out by Sturge. Camille Rivers tries to keep it alive. Well, that's good from Sturge, but Creighton, sorry, but he's lost it. And Real Gill, despite his best attempt, couldn't keep that in. Well, the intensity has certainly gone up a couple notches. Here's Corbin looking to get in on the act himself. Oh, what a save from Suarez. And, well, I tell you what, he's got the fist of steel, and he's got the evidence to prove it. Doesn't take away the sting, though.
Well, again, it comes from engaging Central Soccer World high up the park. Corbin twisting and turning, and eventually Suarez spilling that one out.
Well, they're turning up the style and the tempo. Rivers gets ahead on that one. There's Lee, deflected, almost found its way to the skipper, Jamal Crate. Does win a corner though. Well, I tell you, when you're having a nightmare, you don't want it to increase. And well, reinforcements are coming, to tell you that much. Another former national player warming up. Here's Gill.
That's good skill.
Torment by night, and he's won a corner. I think he's a torment by day and night. Whatever time he's playing, Real Gill.
But sometimes it's hard to believe he's only 18 years old. Tremendous possibilities in a young man. I do stress on the word possibilities. It's now turning that possibility, of course, into reality. It's all down to him.
That's certainly where the hard work comes in. David got himself into some trouble. Well won by Benjamin Jr. Rivers. Got Benjamin Jr. ahead of him. Rivers in support. Good high press employed by Rangers. And the green shirts are struggling to find these spaces. Here's Benjamin Jr. He's got some space to run into. Can he take Leslie Russell for a run? Oh, that's a good pass, and wow, almost found his captain lurking. Well, he knows he got away.
But I think there, young Frederick, I tell you what, good ball in there by Benjamin. And if you want to win the lottery, you've got to buy a ticket. And Frederick certainly didn't purchase his ticket there. Ball screaming past him, and he should be at least breaking his neck to get at the end of it. Clever play by Benjamin.
Well, changes are being lined up for both teams. It's Corbin to Ike Andrews. Oh, that's a good return ball to Corbin. Keeps it alive to David. Oh, he's good feet, sorry. Well, they're all lining up to have a crack. Need some more accuracy, though. So changes are afoot. And Central Soccer World, they've got two lined up. So Keelan Burnett is the player set to come in. And he replaces Theophilus Bourne. And the second change would see Josiah King make his way on. And he will replace Jason Joseph. So Joseph sees the end of his night. And In comes the number 10, Josiah King. I think they want another change as well. I'm going to bring on their third change. Nicholas Dillon. Surprise. Well, he has the number of Nicholas Dillon. As he comes in, former Central FC man. And the change for Rangers, Real Gill has come off, and incoming is former national youth player Kishon Sicharan.
Well, has to be a foul. I'm surprised it isn't.
Well, Dillon gets a very, very heavy welcome.
And here he is here. That's a lot of shoulder in that challenge. Welcome to La Horquetta, courtesy of Isaiah Lee. Not sure if that was a hallmark card inscription.
Certainly would make a nice one. It's a corner. The substitute King swings it in. Well, they've got some big task ahead of them. And the other substitute gets another hallmark special. I tell you, welcomes are changing these days. Keelan Burnett this time.
Clever bit of skill here.
Like Andrews giving him the
warm reception.
So it's another opportunity to attack. Long gone past the hour mark. And well, this could be anybody's ball. Goalkeeper Sintele ensures that it's his. And here comes one of those firestorm races. Bump on the back, but they do win a throw back for their team. Central Soccer World. Kishon Sicharan being sent on a sprint. Did play for the Caribbean Cup winning national under-20 team. So joins his teammate Ikem Andrews, and the attacker out wide, Kadin Corbin, as three members of that Caribbean Cup winning team on the field at the moment. Also did play for the Defence Force as well in the Professional Football League.
Had a stint at Central FC as well. And AC Port of Spain, then known Naughty Stars.
Well, Benjamin Jr. is determined to keep that alive. He's done well. Here's Rivers looking for space to cross, and what a good cross that was. Almost picked out his man, lurking in the area. Nicholas Dillon was hoping for some purchase on that one. It's one man you never really want to give space to cross. Camille Rivers, he's very efficient at them. Well, it's done well to keep it.
It's a good ball as well.
Good defending though from David. And good cover as well. Isaiah Lee helping out in the defending. King did well to keep it alive, and it's booted out. Will be a throw to Central Soccer World. Well, they forced the home team on the back foot for the last few minutes.
A lot of it is down to the offensive changes that have made. King and of course Nicholas Dillon certainly has the quality to get this Central Soccer World team back into this contest.
18 minutes remaining in regulation time. Is that enough time for Soccer World to mount some sort of fight back? Rangers have all right to feel in charge of this affair. They'll lead 3-1. Can't get better insurance than that. Well, here's Cicheran. Got good footwork. And Corbin. Oh, goodness me. Certainly delighted the fans at the far corner. Carrying on dancing sessions. High pressure. Maintains possession.
As the heavens is open again. Bumper crowd here again at La Horquetta recreational ground.
Well, that's a piercing run from Isaiah Lee. Oh, that's a nice reverse. And got a good touch, the defender. Still keep it alive. Ross Russell Jr. Nice crisp passing. Well cut out. And, well, it goes against them now. It's a foul.
The heavens are really opening up now.
Well, blessings for one team. Team that's on top. Long punt, looking for Rivers. That's good defending.
That's a good ball.
Well, is this a chance here?
He's lost his opportunity.
Yes, Corbin. Looking to attack quickly. Not that many options. Surprised that his main option was Ross Russell Jr. Part of the defensive three. Here's Neil Benjamin Jr. He's got space to exploit, and not sure he chose the right option. Kemiel Rivers was bursting out to his left.
Yeah, certainly didn't make the right option there. Rivers was an acres of space, all by himself, crying out for a pass. And Neil Benjamin Jr. either didn't hear him or didn't want to hear him.
I think it's the latter. He has an opportunity for redemption from the corner. Well headed away by Russell. It's Rivers. Oh, that's a good pass. Has he stayed onside? Hasn't. Well, there's a man down at the moment in white.
Looks like Isaiah Lee.
Not sure if he bumped into anybody. Can't remember spotting any contact. Maybe just run into exhaustion. Usually leaves you very banged up.
He has put in a shift tonight. As we see Boyce, head coach of Central Soccer World, and of course Dave Corona, who'll be the happy of the two.
Doesn't look happy though. Always wants more. But he's having a word with his captain. Wonder what he's saying. Well, Lee looks all mended. Power of H2O and a good magic spray.
These guys have certainly put on a show for the large crowd that we see here at La Horquetta. Bursting with people all around the sides. Tremendous turnout here tonight. This could be a very festive Easter here in La Horquetta.
Well, they're looking to make their evening festive, and that one was well cut out. Well thought of, though. Substitutes combining really well. Here's Lee. Got Sichuran. He gets in on the act. He's got happy feet. Then inaccurate one on that occasion. Here's Benjamin Jr. He's got Rivers. Dylan ahead of him.
He's got to stay on side.
Oh, just feel like he needed
That's a penalty. That is clumsy.
It is a penalty. Just felt like he wasn't going to get there, but he did enough to. And the Jabari Bryce, well, ill-timed challenge and going away from goal. Not what the doctor ordered, but it's a chance for Nicholas Dillon to give his team the opportunity they've been praying for.
Well, if there ever was a lifeline, it has just been supplied there. Look at this. It's going nowhere. Backwards, away from goal. And he just slides in to give away the penalty. Only one way, son, to redeem yourself.
Well, St-Hilaire will be feeling the pressure of this decision. So to Nicholas Dillon. Oh, what a redemption! Well, they've somehow managed to get it over the line and the flag stays down. So Central Soccer World are back in it. And might have been Kemuel Rivers who got the final touch. But how close was that? So close to redemption for Jabari St-Hilaire, but redemption was not to be.
It's a good save there. Poor penalty by Dillon. And look at that man, the evergreen Rivers stooping low to put it into the back of the net. I tell you, James, there was no one beating Rivers to that ball. And dare I say, game on.
Well, the fullback has put Central Soccer World back in the contest. It's all to play for here. Nerves have re-entered the arena. Terminix have seen their lead cut to 1. Central Soccer World, well, they're seeing the glass half full.
That's a good ball.
Chances opening up. Oh,
that's
goodness
a good
me.
ball. And a terrific finish.
David getting at the end of that one. And the man who made his first start this evening, well, he certainly paid the coach's confidence. But how about that for a service as well?
Well, just when you thought Central Soccer World found a lifeline, ball across, look at that for a finish. Bang! Into the back of the net. Thank you very much. And that man, Daniel, restoring the 2-goal advantage.
Well, Daniel David getting his first start for Locketa Rangers, and certainly one that he will remember. It's a scoring one. Might be a game-winning one as well.
That was very, very sloppy by Central Soccer World. They just seemed to have clawed their way back into the game. And then to give away a sloppy goal at the back post. But I think this is not over, James. We could be into for an absolute thriller here.
Well, the fans wouldn't mind, tell you that much. Is there more goals in this contest? That's well cut out. Guerra gets the assist provider, Sichuran, going. He's been absent due to injury, Sichuran. This is his first match back with the first team. And what an impact he's made as well. Oh, the white shirts, they want more. They are not contented with the 4-2 lead. Lee to Guerra. Chris Sparting cut out. Benjamin Jr. Can he open some doors? Well, that door remains closed. You would need some more quality in the final third. Central Soccer World if they are to get back in this contest. We've got 9 minutes of regulation time remaining to do it.
That's a good pass.
Here's Dylan. Deflected. Josiah. Oh, that's a good-looking ball. Just couldn't find its intended target. Well, he's been everywhere since coming on, haven't he? Josiah King. And they're leaving nothing to chance, as that one rolls harmlessly to St. Hilaire. I think goalkeepers sometimes get bored in matches. Talking from my own experience. Gave away a penalty, put them back in the contest. And, forthwith, they restored parity. Cicheran. Corbin rides that challenge. Ross Russell Jr.
I think he's off.
Well, the flag stays up and high as that bit of anticipation came to naught. Well, the Sportsmax app moment is up. And what a moment it was. Substitute Keishon Cicheran finding Daniel David. Knock, knock, who's there? Me. And the drums are going to be ponged away celebrating that one, if it turns out to be the game winner. That, of course, was our Sportsmax app moment. Don't forget to download the Sportsmax app to get all of your latest content. Well, he's had a frustrating night, hasn't he? More changes as his frustrating night comes to an end. Neil Benjamin Jr. And in his place comes Isaiah Cadogan. So Cadogan comes in to replace Neil Benjamin Jr. And yet another change has been made as well. They make their fifth change. Andre Sinclair, the player coming on. Is this one last roll of the dice for Central Soccer World? Got 5 and a bit remaining. First, they've got to stop this man. Can they stop this man? Corbin, chance opening up, and Lee is denied. Here's Ross Russell Jr. Oh, he's cut out as well. The green shirts are on the attack. Can they get a goal in the closing stages of the match? Well, this one is floated in nicely for the substitute, but, well, Leslie Russell looked like Conan there. No way he was going to get around the big frame of Leslie Russell. Here's his substitute. Been very busy since coming on. Not this time. Josiah King out-muscled, and it's a throw.
Your thoughts on man of the match, James?
I was just about to ask you.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Of course, Isaiah Lee has been in his sparkling form again tonight. Kadeem Corbin, lively up front. Ross Russell Jr., surgeon.
Might lean towards Corbin, but it's close, it's tight. All 3 that you called.
And even Daniel with that crushing goal can also be at the races as well.
Tell you what, if that, I think that's a good save.
Can he finish?
Here's Corbin, but he's aiming for that man of the match if he buried that one. It's a tight race at the moment. I think it's a tight one. I'm torn between Corbin and Daniel. I think Daniel getting his first start, scoring an important goal, also being involved in a lot of the attacking plays, certainly is a good candidate. First game, first goal.
I'm waiting for a word from my producer in my ear. Might be the decider.
Tiebreakers. Oh, I love tiebreakers.
There's some futures man of the matches. They look very indulged, and a man who would have seen the other side of Rangers. Suarez in goal. Has been another productive evening, for Terminix La Horquetta Rangers.
Certainly has. Like him, Andrews. He's pulling off the pitch. He's holding that hamstring. He seems to have been suffering with some sort of hamstring discomfort all tournament. It's part of the reason that he hasn't started the last 2 matches. Might be the end of his evening.
It's safe to say Daniel is man of the match.
And there we go. Tiebreaker.
Well, if you want to call it that, yeah.
That wasn't too hard.
Well, it hasn't been a barnstorming sort of performance by Terminix La Horquetta Rangers, and that is, of course, due to their lofty examples that they've given in the past. But that being said, you have to give them credit, James. They clawed themselves into this one in the second half with some really explosive football.
Well, chances opening up here, though. Isaiah Lee. Can they get one? Bit of icing. Well, Ross Russell Jr. It's difficult to believe he's part of the defensive 3 at the back. He's been involved in so many attacking plays.
Well, maybe if he was playing for a team like Man City, you may excuse him. And he's certainly been given a license to roam. A roaming defender.
The local Jordi Alba.
Or the local João Cancelo.
Well, that's a compliment either way. Is there more chances opening up? The writing is on the wall. Inside the additional 5 minutes of injury time here. And Nicholas Dillon from distance. What a save! Jabari St-Hilaire. Well, I think he didn't have a gun, but he certainly robbed everybody of what would have been a spectacular goal from Nicholas Dillon. What a save.
Well, this is good vision by the young man. He looks up, he sees him off his line. And I tell you, St-Hilaire does well there. At the end of the day, I think that the height of it, James, may have just been good enough for a Kodak moment.
Oh, that's a good one at the far post.
Should have finished.
Is there a late charge? Or close? Not close enough? What a save that was. Too bad the Sportsmax app moment came earlier on. That certainly would have been it.
Well, I think Central Soccer World could look back at this one and believe that they would have acquitted themselves very, very well here this afternoon. A think in one or two of the moments, if they could have been a little bit better, the scoreline may have been a little bit closer. I think the question is, James, what is it going to take to stop this Terminix La Horquetta Rangers team?
Well, that's the question that all opposing coaches will have to answer. Scored 19 goals in this competition. It's the second game that we've scored 4 goals in. It's the third game that we have scored over 4 goals in. The only game we scored 1 goal was the opening match against Defence Force. And that's a rough challenge from Dylan on his former national teammate, Sicharan. Wow, he seems a tad surprised that he saw the yellow greeting card from the referee. I think it's well deserved though. Two minutes remaining in the added on time in this match. Terminix La Horquetta Rangers seem set to get the 3rd win of the competition. Yet to be beaten, the leaders. Yes, King comes off Sicharan. Oh, he's done well to keep it in. Russell. Atula Guerra. Heavy touch, but he still keeps it. It's Daniel David to Russ Russell Jr. Well, they haven't dropped their intensity as they push forward in search of perhaps one last goal. Inside the final minute. Oh, that's clever. Certainly something to give the fans to ooh about.
Done well to recover, Daniel.
Sturge. Russell shifted to the right-hand side. And the referee says, right, he's seen enough. As an entertaining night of football. 6 goals scored here at the La Horquetta Recreation Ground. 4 of them in favor of the home team, as Terminix La Horquetta Rangers win an exciting match by 4 goals to 2. So what an exciting match. Terminix Rangers getting a 4-2 win. Central Soccer World. After a 1-all scoreline at halftime. Well, they turned on the afterburners in the second half as this game sprung into life. Taking a look at the highlights now, Isaiah Lee started the party early, ringing the alarm. And then later on, man of the match Daniel forcing Suarez into a save. Real Gill then picked the lock, and Kadeem Corbin, well, he broke and entered to give them a 1-0 advantage. Just getting in front of Wiley. How about that for a finish? 1-0 to Kadeem Corbin. Nice link-up play. Would set it up nicely for them. No luck that time. And then this. A ram in the ticket. Johannes Richardson, the guilty party, and Kemuel Rivers sends it where the sun doesn't shine. And that made it 1 apiece. That's all the scores remained. At halftime, Kemuel Rivers, the veteran, getting on the score sheet. Later on in the match, Rangers, the header, Russ Russell Jr. And, well, he huffed and he puffed, but he wouldn't be let in by the crossbar. Rivers also tried his luck from the free kick. Then Russ Russell Jr., the save. And then Atula Guerra with the feint and getting the second of the match. for Terminix La Horquetta Rangers, showing all of his quality at Tulagera. And that made it 2-1. And then this moment, malfunction, and Isaiah Lee. He picks your pocket and he makes you pay. 3-1 to Terminix Rangers. Can anyone stop him from scoring, Isaiah Lee? Then some bad defending from Rivers. And chance opened up for Corbin. And again, this time Suarez coming to the rescue. The double save. And then Corbin, dangerous all evening. Huffing and puffing, and Suarez had to have a fist of steel to keep that out. More chances. Well, out of nothing, Nicholas Dillon, the substitute, brought down by Jabari St-Hilaire. And a chance for Central to be back in the match. A good save, but Kemuel Rivers getting his second of the evening to ensure that his team had a fighting chance. That made it 3-2. And everybody thought we were set for a thrilling finale, but just a few moments later, another substitute. At the back door, who's home? Daniel. And he pinned the donkey's tail. Made it 4-2. Was there more chances for Central? Well, Jabari St-Hilaire made sure that they were kept out, as he's kept the scoreline 4-2 in favor of his team, La Horquetta Rangers. So La Horquetta Rangers with 18 shots, an incredible 18 shots to 8 from Central Soccer World. 11 of those on target, while Central Soccer World only 3 shots on target, 2 of which were goals. And a match that they dominated 6-2 on corner kicks. It certainly was an exciting match. It certainly was a tough toss-up. But I think Brent Sancho is standing by with our man of the match.
Well, I'm joined here by young Daniel, of course, a man of the match for today's proceeding. Daniel, please tell us about tonight's performance, first starting with yours.
Oh, well, firstly, it was coming from the coaches. They told us to go out there and play our game from the first half.
Well, at 1-1 at halftime, I'm sure Coach had a lot to say halftime. What you thought was the difference in the second half as opposed to the first half, of course, eventually making Terminix La Horquetta Rangers the winners?
Oh, well, in the first half, we wasn't communicating enough. So, second half, our coach told us go out and press the ball and communicate better.
Well, it was an impressive performance by yourself, of course, in the middle of the park. And I now present you with the man of the match performance. Congratulations, Daniel, as we move on. As we now, of course, have a brief conversation with Coach Boyce of Central Soccer World. And, of course, his thoughts on tonight's proceedings. Coach Boyce, of course, not the kind of result you would have wanted tonight. You talked a lot about discipline leading into this game. Where do you think things unraveled for you in tonight's fixture?
I think we had a good first half. Second half, a lot of little errors and little indisciplines, and so we have some areas to tighten up going forward. I still believe the boys play a good game. They stick to the plan tactically, but some individual mistakes and errors that we have to work on still.
Well, at 1-1 going into the half, you would have felt that you could have gone on to get something out of this game. What was your message for your team at halftime?
Well, the plan into the whole game was to definitely, stay on the ball as much as possible. Second half was kind of the same. We know they would have come out playing higher up the field, a little more aggressive. But I think the pace in which they come out playing with, that was a little tricky for us for the first 8 minutes of the game. So I think in that aspect, we faltered there.
Well, of course, Coach Boyce, it was a creditable performance by your Chargers, and certainly something to look forward to in the rest of the tournament. Congratulations on tonight's performance. Unfortunate with the result, and we look forward to seeing you and your team in the near future. Of course, now we have the winning coach for Terminix La Horquetta Rangers, Dave Kwamina.
Yes, good night.
So, of course, Coach Kwamina, another result, another 3 points. Talk us through tonight's game.
Okay, let me start by saying kudos to the CSW team. They have a very experienced players and a good coach. The plan was to win the game first, which we did. as you could see, anybody watch the game, you could see it was a very intense game. They made us work extremely hard, and I just want to pick up the staff and the coach at the CSW team, and I think they'll go far in the league.
Well, of course, at 1-1 at halftime, what was your message to your Chargers going into the second half?
Just to keep the intensity up. Just to keep the intensity up, keep playing. They matched us. They had spurts in certain 5-minute spurts. They had possession of the ball. We just say we'll try to keep the intensity up, and at the end we came out on top.
So, of course, final question: what's next for Terminix La Horquetta Rangers? Of course, on top of the league, maintaining first place.
Yes. As you know, all the teams come to play. It's not easy league. All the teams are good players. It's an intense league, and we'll try to see if we could win every game, or at least draw. Otherwise, we can't say nothing. It's a good experience to see teams like this team tonight come and push us.
Well, congratulations again, Coach Commoner, flying on top of the league so far, and of course, all the best to you and Terminix La Horquetta Rangers for the rest of the Ascension tournament.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Sure. Of course, as we now introduce the Campari Player of the Week, a presentation that would go to that man of Rangers, Terminix La Horquetta Rangers, Isaiah Lee, of course, with a hat-trick against Moruga FC. He was in fine feckle, placing this one into the back of the net. And that, folks, is your Campari Player of the Week. $500 to that man, Isaiah Lee, all courtesy of Campari. Back up to my good friend, James Saunders.
Well, thanks so much, Brent Sancho, having all the fun as usual, meeting with all the top performers in tonight's match, and it certainly was a wonderful evening, bringing all of the action to you here on Sportsmax and the CCN TV6 in Trinidad and Tobago. So it's party time here as we remind you of the score. The home team Terminix La Horquetta Rangers winning this contest by 4-2 against Central Soccerville. We certainly had lots of fun bringing all of the action to you, and until next time, catch you later. Have a great evening.